Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm doing a little laundry right now and just trying to become educated on LeBron James's sciatica injury. Essentially, it's something that attacks your back area, buttocks included, spine, and it could be chronic if not treated soon enough, if not healed properly initially. There are a lot of different factors that go into what makes it chronic, but it could be something that doesn't go away. They say it's caused by just excessive motion. In other words, father time. Just doing all types of squats and different types of exercises, you strain that nerve, just do some nerve damage, and that's really what this ultimately is. So they're saying 4 to 6 weeks for Bron. But the truth of the matter is, when you have something like this, it's going to, especially his age, you have to expect that it's going to be a reoccurring thing. So you can give him 4 to 6 weeks, but he may only play for 3 weeks before being out again. I don't know, man. When I think about what the Lakers are, essentially, it's a team surrounding Luka Doncic. And we're in the midst of trying to build that, and I think we're in a space where we can successfully say that we have pieces around Luka Doncic that can, if he drags it, can get as far as he takes it. But without LeBron James, that brings that ceiling down significantly, and it increases the possibility of Luka eventually trying to do too much and getting hurt himself. He's new to being in shape, which means that it's going to be some time before he's as durable as we're hoping he's going to become, even in the presence of starting to do things the right way. He just got in shape. So there could be things that have him, he may have setbacks with certain things. Muscle growth is going to cause pain. It's going to feel like he's injured when he just needs a couple days rest. That type of stuff is just the process of reinventing your body alone. So he's in the midst of that, and I'd expect Luka to miss some time with injuries here and there, rolled ankles, sore shoulders, stuff like that. It's bound to come, especially with what his role on this team is going to be without LeBron James to start the season. Father time comes for us all, man, and it's going to tell LeBron James when it's time to hang it up. I think this is the sign right here that he needs to consider. We're there. I don't know that we're going to retire right away, but once you start talking about things that only come about due to wear and tear, and they start talking about chronic, not going away, I think that's when you start saying, all right, man, we're in a space where now I may be able to do more damage to my body long term than what was ever at risk before. LeBron James, he's got obviously a son on the team. He got another son coming into the league. Both of those sons have their ladies. LeBron's gonna have grandkids soon. He's got a young daughter. You know what I mean? She's coming of age, but he still wants to be able to run around with her and do all the different things. If he ruins his sciatic nerve permanently, it's gonna put his lifestyle at risk. And it's for somebody who put as much into his body as he has, I think it would be a very tough experience for him to be suffering chronic pain for the rest of his life because of something that he put at risk to play basketball at age 41 when he'd already done it all. I think he should consider, if this is going to be a risk for him having poor quality of life, I think he should consider retiring. Because at this point, he's on borrowed time anyway. When you get this far into your career, 23 years in, there really isn't anything left to prove. And if your body feels good enough to run around, you've won the game. Because that means you're going to have a great quality of life after the game. A lot of people hurt themselves real bad during their sport, or they play too long and they end up hurting their body permanently. Sometimes it's best to walk away when you still got something left. Sometimes it's best to walk away 100% healthy so that you can assure your quality of life going forward will be as it is at that moment. LeBron he has every goal in the book, I'd imagine, to try to win more championships, prove people wrong, not be too old, be the alien that plays forever. But the body will tell you at some point, hey man, the work required, I'm not capable of doing the work anymore. Not without creating problems that were not present before. And I think that's where we're at with him. If his exercise regimen is now going to, make this sciatic issue a permanent one, then you're no longer in a position to do the preparation necessary to be ready on the basketball floor. And that's what it's really about. Anybody can go out there and play ball here and there, but you got to be able to stay upright for 82. And that requires training. And so his body's telling him we're tired of the training. It's essentially what his body's telling him. So, yeah, that's what I say. I think LeBron James has already been proven to be that alien. So if he's able to come back from this 100%, still be a top 5 player, I wouldn't be surprised. But my thing is, you're going to be taking punishment. People are still going to be hitting you with elbows in the back. People are still going to be, climbing on top of you, trying to get boards. You're going to still have to deal with the strongest player on the other team. They're still going to throw those guys at you. You still got to guard Julius Randle. You still got to guard Zion Williamson. You know what I'm saying? He still has to be pushed around by people like Alperen Sengun and Jaren Jackson Jr. I just don't think with this issue that's starting to arise, I don't think it's in his best interest to take on some of those matchups anymore. That's where I'm at. If we could find ourselves a Kevon Looney or something like that, his best friend Beef Stew, it would be a great time for us to try to sneakily acquire one of those players. You're going to need somebody who can absorb those matchups. Because if that's still going to be his job, we're asking for it. With this new sciatica issue. On top of his age. I don't want him taking on those people's punishment anyway. But now, we got to start being honest about what we're asking him to do and maybe it being too much for his body. So that's my point of view on this situation with LeBron James. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we have the most talented bench. I really don't. I don't think we can afford to have LeBron go down and Austin go down and Luka go down. Obviously, we go to hell if Luka goes down. But just some of these role players, if we're all healthy and LeBron's the only person missing, I like our chances of still being able to do good things around Luka. But now we're at a space where we can't afford to lose anybody. And we're starting the season with multiple banged up guys. We're starting the season knowing that some of our guys are not the best bet to play 82 games. So this is a situation where there's a world where the Los Angeles Lakers are not overly competitive, man, this season. And I don't think that's the most likely scenario. I don't expect that we're not going to be very competitive. I just understand that it requires us to stay healthy in order for us to be capable of being very competitive. So that's what it comes down to. I think that's obvious for every team, but I think some teams are a bit more at risk than others, and we are a high-risk team for injury. Not only based on LeBron's age, but based on Luka's conditioning, which is improving, but still needs to get to a certain place where it's, he's real sturdy instead of just having lost weight. Now there needs to be muscle gain and stuff like that, which comes throughout the course of time. And so, guys like Gabe Vincent and Vanderbilt, we got our rookie who's having issues with his injuries. Different guys on this team, you just don't know if you can expect for them to be the best bet to carry the load. If there's no LeBron James, can you trust them to just stay upright? And I don't think the answer is really yes. So I checked on Fanspo just to be certain, and as of right now, the Los Angeles Lakers do have their 2026 first round pick. Meaning, if for some reason we find ourselves tanking, we can get a lottery pick. I don't pull the trigger on tanking at this point before the season even starts and LeBron's back to be back in 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not thinking that this is where we need to go. I'm just saying if push comes to shove, we can pivot the season. We can pivot the season. And look, Luka is a winner. I don't think a player, especially of his caliber, really needs a whole lot to be competitive. You can put him down there with 4 plumbers and he's going to get about 35, 40 games out of the situation. He's going to win. But if the solution is not found in a championship, then based on how we're constructed to where LeBron James is going to retire and thus we don't get to capture any of his value, it's probably in your best interest to try to acquire a high-level asset like a top 10 pick in this upcoming draft to kind of make up the difference for what it is you're expecting to lose when LeBron James retires. I'm not saying you're going to be able to replace the value of LeBron James in the draft. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be wonderful if you were able to have that pick in hand and if LeBron James is forced to retire right away? Or at any point, really, because I think everybody's committed to the idea that we're not trading LeBron. He has a no-trade clause, so you're going to jump through a lot of hoops just to make that happen if you decide to. And with him having this nerve damage issue, it's even less likely anybody will trade anything good for him. So he's definitely going to retire a Laker at this point. I think that pretty much locks this in as far as him being able to say that he has job security with this unit, this franchise. I don't think he's a tradable asset anymore. Not with a no-trade clause and a chronic nerve injury. And so for those conspiracy theorists out there who think he's maybe faking this injury, there's a drop in the bucket for what you guys are talking about. Because that's motive. That's for damn sure. But, at the end of the day, at this age, LeBron James, his body's going to start telling him it's time to stop at some point. And it sounds like that's what's happening here. Sounds like it. But, I don't know LeBron. So for all I know, he is faking this injury for a couple of reasons. And those reasons, as one I already just mentioned, it's for job security with the Lakers, and to not have people on his back about being traded. Another reason having to do with just controlling your own narrative. A lot of what's been happening in the NBA, it's been said that LeBron James is not really on the same page with some of the higher-ups in the NBA front offices right now, and ownership and commissioners not really on the same page with everybody. This allows him an opportunity to give them all the finger, control the narrative, essentially say, I'll play when I want to play. Y'all got all these games at the beginning of the season that are catered around the narrative of my timeline, and I'm going to miss some of them games with a pain in the butt. You know what I mean? I think there's a world where people are not crazy for wondering if he's faking this. But it's bulletproof in the sense that he is older, and you would expect this type of injury to come to an older person who's taking on the mileage that he's taking. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is, man. I made peace this past summer. Once we signed Luka to an extension, I kind of made peace with the idea that we were not going to recoup anything for LeBron. That's just when I decided to make peace with it. Like, he has another no-trade clause, and he's 41 years of age, in year 23. He's probably going to retire a Laker. I will not get any picks for him. I probably won't even get any players or nothing like that in his absence. You just gotta take the loss on that value. That's like a lot of value that is going to evaporate from my organization, which is something I never wanted. I never wanted that. So, in a situation like this, I think as an organization, you may want to try to get in the lottery this year. You may want to skip the playoffs and just try to bring that next big asset to your situation. Potential young running mate who can complement Luka Doncic for many years to come. First 4 years on a rookie contract deal. Hopefully you strike it rich and get a very productive player early on. Now you have somebody who can kind of take the reins with Luka to the promised land for the Lakers for the next 12 years. I think in the short term, you hate that idea because you want to be competitive this season. I think in the long run, if you strike it rich and get that pick, suddenly you got that running mate. Suddenly you don't have to wonder who's going to be replacing LeBron James. A little bit of a stretch to think that we would get that lucky and get that type of player, but you never know unless you try. You never know unless you're in that position. I don't think it requires you to lose a lot of games to get a high pick. Clearly, we've seen Dallas win it last year. They were a pretty good team. Atlanta won it the year before. They're a pretty good team. So I don't know that tanking outright really helps secure that. I think if anything, it's proven that it doesn't. But being in the mix as a team that wins 38 games, 36 games will put you in that lottery. And I think the basis of what I'm saying is the Lakers may want to pivot toward being in that lottery to capture that asset and prepare for LeBron James' departure, what that means for our franchise. So free agency obviously can get it done. LeBron James leaves. You got $50 million to pay a free agent. Maybe somebody comes. Maybe you're able to do something in the trade market that changes your life. But I think if anything, I just want inexpensive, high productive, high level, next generation talent. How do I get that? Through the draft with opportunities like this. Period. So am I on pro tank mode? I'm already thinking, should I tank? As a 30-year fan of the Los Angeles Lakers, I can legitimately say that if the Lakers tank this year and get a high pick, I'll be thrilled. I can legitimately say that. Because at the end of the day, if we're not winning championships, if we're not absolutely good enough to win a championship, then we need to be doing something we can to assure that we have a chance at becoming that. And in my mind, and this is just my opinion, as you guys follow me, you know this, the best way to secure that type of depth and that type of upside is really through the draft. It's through the draft. Free agency can help, but if you get them on the wrong contract, it eats away at your depth there. The most effective way to be absolutely crazy great is to luck out getting a rookie contract on the top player of a special year. And I think that this upcoming draft could potentially be special. Darren Peterson is amazing. I did homework on him a year ago. I know exactly what type of guard that is. He's a Kobe-like hit shot maker. AJ DeBonsta is a hell of a wing who would fit right in with what we're doing. Would be fantastic for what we have going on going forward. The Boozer kid, he's fantastic. So this could potentially be a high-level draft coming up where the top of that draft has some potential franchise-changing talent. And so do we get lucky and get a top 3 pick if we have a bad year? I don't know. But I want to be in the mix if I can't win a championship. I want to be in the mix for the best player in a good draft if I am effectively capped off at first round exit. I'm just being honest with y'all. Or if my ceiling is play-in tournament, I'm gonna kick that can down the road and see if there's luck in my favor. You know, worst case scenario, you get the 15th overall pick. That sucks, but it doesn't suck in the sense that you can still find extreme quality there, and you start the season fully healthy with whatever you have and that player coming in, or you trade that pick for something that really fits or something. That's a terrible scenario, but it's still going to net you more than making the playoffs and just going home and then coming back with the same team next year and hoping that something great happens with Luka that year. It's just, I don't know. I think there's if LeBron is effectively never going to be the same guy again, he's absolutely going to retire in my uniform and likely to retire at the end of this year. I don't particularly need to compete this season, you guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I want my pick more than I want to be competitive this year. Just being honest. And look, that may be the wrong way to go. You do things the right way, you almost win a championship with a high-level talent like Luka Doncic. You may even luck into an injury year with the surrounding field and end up being one of the healthier teams, even with LeBron out. Who knows? There are a lot of different things that can happen. But to secure you a chance at building something great, I feel that you have to luck out in the draft. You have to luck out in the draft. You got to heighten your chances at something amazing taking place. And so, how do you do that? By being in the lottery for certain. That's what it is. It can go bad too. You can get the wrong player. You know what I mean? There are ways you can get the best player in the 15th overall pick. We've seen that type of thing. So I'm not ruling anything out. But if you're just going to increase your odds, it's going to be trying to get in the lottery and hopefully to get a top 3 pick. So, yeah, man, and that's not what you want to talk about in the preseason of any season. But when you start saying words like sciatica and LeBron James and 41 years of age, that's when I start realizing, this guy still makes up a good 45% of my team at this point. 45% of what it is I expect will make me competitive is wrapped up in him. And if he's not going to ever be the same and he's about to retire and I ain't getting nothing in his stead, I'm going to think about the future of my franchise and what's going to give me the best possible outcome at an affordable, high-level contributor that can grow in my uniform and be a homegrown Laker that I can sell jerseys with his name on the back for years to come. At the very worst, I could pick up my number 3 best player in this draft with a top 10 pick. Like, that's something that I think is really important to secure. And so I would tell I would tell our GM at the very least, do not trade this pick. If you're going to trade picks from later. Don't trade this upcoming season. Because we're one late LeBron injury away from not necessarily knowing who Luka's second guy is going to be. And I think that the best way to secure you at least can tell people that you have somebody you think can become the second overall best player is through the draft. Somebody with crazy upside that potentially could come your way just from not being overly competitive this season. So, I hate this. I hate that we're in this space. I hate that this has to be a conversation, but it is one with LeBron having this injury and being that age, man. So, I wanted to be the first person to come out here and say, hey, man, don't pull that off the table. Do not pull that off the table. So that's pretty much my point of view on that, man. I'm definitely looking forward to tomorrow's game against Golden State Warriors. It's been 6 days already since the Lakers have played. So I'll have all the stuff that I often do for you guys, talking about the game before halftime and, of course, post-game. So, yeah, that's it, man. That's where my head is. I haven't paid attention to the injury report in other areas. I don't know who's available tomorrow, but I'm hoping we'll see some people we have not seen. And I hope our team has had a good week of practices. And we have some clarity on LeBron James. Hopefully he'll come back 100% and we will be, put all this behind us. But I just don't know if that is what that particular injury is essentially about. So, it is what it is, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.